So as I mentioned, my name is Adam Geller, and I came to education as a classroom teacher. So I taught 9th grade science and 8th grade science. And then after my time in the classroom, I left and joined the national team of Teach for America, where I was focused on questions of how do you use technology to help scale issues around your preparation and teacher development. And that led me to thinking a lot about some of the problems that we're working here at Athena day to day. Also sitting with me today, and I was the star of the show, is Audra Parker. She is an associate professor and also the academic program coordinator for elementary education at George Mason. She's focused a lot on pre-service education and is a user of Athena. But Audra, maybe you could tell us a bit about your program and kind of what you oversee and how many candidates you work with. Those kinds of things.
Sure, Adam. So our program here, the elementary ed program at Mason, is a 39 credit hour program, mostly postgraduate, post-baccalaureate students who are getting a graduate degree, a master's plus licensure. We have various tracks, a few part-time students, primarily full-time students. We do run a cohort model, so our students progress through the program in cohorts in a systematic course sequence. And then within that course sequence, many of their courses have associated field hours, all leading to one of two internship options, a semester-long or a year-long internship. And then all of that work occurs in the context of a really strong professional development schools network that we've fostered, grown here at Mason over the last 20 years. So we work with approximately 30 elementary schools in 4 districts in the Northern Virginia area.
Great, thank you so much for that overview. Before we jump in, I'm curious to hear from the folks on the line, and Audra and I both will be able to see your answers to that. What is your goal video? How would you answer that question? So I'm going to give us a moment to think about that. Welcome to tweet at us using the hashtag with purpose, or also really convenient for us here right now as the question and answer on the top left-hand side. So if you have any burning ideas that you want to share, this would be a great time to do that. All right, great. Well, I see one person here mentioning they want to, let's see, incorporate more collecting of video evidence of the student teaching. Okay, I think we can definitely cover that today. And increased focus on evidence-based learning. Well, yes, that is definitely something we hear a bunch when it comes to using video. Definitely will be talked about today. Well, let me go ahead and turn it over to the star of the show, and that is Audra Parker. And she'll be leading us through her 3 steps for adopting video with purpose.
Great. Thanks, Adam. I was just listening to the story about Michigan, and I started thinking about our own use here at Mason, and we really, for a year, have been involved with Athena, and we actually went from zero use of video in our program to pretty consistent use across courses and field experiences all in the span of the year. And I think what was interesting for our program as we got involved in using Athena is that we knew we were missing something, and we knew we needed something to help us engage with video that would not overwhelm us from a technological standpoint. And I think that's where we've seen the biggest growth for our program as we've incorporated Athena over the last year. And so I think in that process we've really determined that there's some purposeful steps to take when adopting a new platform to help transform your program. So we'll just kind of walk through those the 3 steps today. The first thing that we really focused on at Mason was the idea of purposeful planning, specifically the idea of the fit and the feasibility of the program. We actually piloted a use of Athena with a small number of faculty members and a small number of students in our partner schools. And we were really trying to ascertain the fit for our students, kind of their technological capabilities and what supports we might have to put in place, our teachers and what they may need in terms of support, our faculty, certainly, what kinds of support they might need, and then also thinking about some of the political pieces that we might have to navigate. So how would it work within our university context? How would it work with our K-6 partners in elementary schools? And so that pilot was a really important part for us in determining fit and feasibility. It also allowed us to be really purposeful in getting the faculty on board in advance. So during that pilot, we got very excited about the possibilities. We began to brainstorm all the different ways we could really see Athena fitting with our coursework and our field experiences, and that helped kind of engage the faculty and invest us in the adoption phase. And then the last piece kind of that purposeful adoption is that we knew we couldn't spring this on the students kind of last minute or without a lot of thought going into the process. So we prepared our students in advance for what was coming. And we actually adopted 100% across the program as well for students that were entering and then students that were already in the program. So we had to be quite thoughtful about how we communicated with the students and really celebrated the benefits for them of Athena in that adoption process. So then the next place that we really had to be purposeful was in the use of Athena. And I think anytime there's something new, the tendency is to really sometimes overuse. So we were trying to be very strategic about engaging our students, getting them to buy in to the program use because we knew the professional development benefits. But we really had to be thoughtful about how we did that. So when looking just at our coursework first, we designed a couple of low-stakes practice assignments, things that would let them navigate how to use Athena, but that weren't things that would cause them a lot of stress. What we know about elementary pre-service teachers is that they get anxious about things very quickly. So the low-stakes assignments were really critical. In the classroom experiences and in the internship, these were all classroom tours. So we asked them to go to their placement site, their field experience, and give us a 2-minute video tour of their classroom, narrate it, so they got used to hearing their voice online, and then walk through the process of uploading and commenting on each other's videos. Then we began thinking about our coursework and our field work and how we might make many of our assignments more robust. So I have a couple of examples that I think might be helpful in seeing how our assignments shifted with the adoption of Athena. So for example, in our literacy methods course, our students had previously had an assignment where they had to conduct a strategic read aloud. And they would do the read aloud, complete the reflection, submit it to their instructor who would read the reflection and make comments on that based on what the student said. Well, with Athena, we were able to add in that video layer. So now the students videoed their strategic read aloud. They reflected in the context of the Athena platform, and then the instructor was actually able to see the read aloud and comment on their reflection in the platform as well. So that shift, we think, really enhanced those course-to-field connections for us. A couple other examples that are very similar. We transformed a literacy methods assignment that was related to word sorts. And so the students did a series of 3 lessons after gathering data based on students' readiness levels, and they designed the 3 small group word sorts activities. They videoed each of those, and then again were commenting on their own video with the instructor, and as well as having their peers comment on the videos as well. And that was all through using an explorations tool that's a part of the Athena platform. And then similarly, we've done the same kinds of transformations in math and social studies and in our curriculum course where in the past we maybe had students design lessons, and now that we have this video platform, we are encouraging them to design and teach the lesson in those field hours experiences. And then we're setting up some small group scenarios where they're able to comment on each other's videos. One thing our social studies instructor has done that's very unique is that he has the students a video, perhaps a 45-minute lesson, and then the student watches the lesson and reflects on it and identifies a 10-minute portion that they would like their peers to give feedback on. So they go back into Athena, very simply use the trimming tool, which is very easy to use, and they're able to re-upload the video and have some small group feedback on targeted sections as well. So those have been really successful from our perspective in changing not only the nature of our course assignments, but in enhancing the field experience opportunities and really pushing our students to teach and observe and think critically about their teaching more quickly than they had been in the past. We're also revisioning some internship components that almost seems like the most natural fit for where Athena would enhance your program, but it really helped us shift the nature of that supervision component. We found that we're able to give purposeful feedback because we have the video with us to refer back to. It's been very helpful with having students set goals. So if we've done an observation, having the students set a mini goal for the next week or 2 weeks, gather video on that goal, and then we can comment on it even without being in the building. So in our program, we're only on site for 1 day a week. But if a student is working on a goal, they can collect that video evidence and have us look at it throughout the time that we're not there. We've used it in book club situations with our interns. So if they've been doing a collective reading, they'll use the video to collect exemplars of something they've read from their professional book club. They'll comment on that together in a small group setting through Athena. We've really worked to shift how they're reflecting. So because of the video component, they're able to go in and reflect purposefully after our observations. So we've really shifted the experience of reflection from us providing feedback to them thinking critically first, and then us coming in as kind of a knowledgeable other. So that's been a very kind of a summary of some of the ways that we've really tried to transform all aspects of our program by building in some opportunities for early success, getting them used to the idea of hearing themselves and seeing themselves on video, really thinking about making our coursework purposeful and connected to the field, and then taking that to the next level when they're in that internship and thinking about how to really enhance their professional development. So in the third leg of our adoption phase this year has been thinking about the analysis component, and we are very early in that stage. And within this first year, we've really thought about, in informal conversations, what are our takeaways? How is this enhancing our program? And we know that our next goal is to really be more strategic about how we're collecting and analyzing the outcomes of our students' work with Athena. But at this point, we have definitely taken away a few key pieces. One is the idea of balancing enhancement and replacement. So thinking about an assignment that we already have and how Athena enhances that assignment and maybe even replaces components of an assignment, but not having Athena as an add-on, as one more thing. And that's something we were really concerned about. Our students have a lot of assignments and a lot of responsibilities, so we really wanted to create situations where Athena enhanced the existing or replaced an existing assignment. It did not create another new task for them. We also talked about the idea of a lot about the idea of time and quality over quantity. So initially, we were very eager to collect as much video as possible, and we quickly realized that quantity really wasn't the most helpful way to help our students develop professionally. We would find ourselves watching an hour-long video and commenting on everything because we really hadn't gone into the collection piece of the purpose. So we've really worked on ways to get our students to think about capturing targeted pieces of video or sections of video and having us comment with a focus on a goal that's important to them, on an aspect of an assignment that's important to them. And then the last piece was avoiding duplication and oversaturation, just the idea that we had to talk across our program and make sure that we weren't all requiring too much of them using Athena and commenting on Athena, but really finding balance for us in our coursework and in our field work. So,
Audra, I'm going to...
Go for it.
Oh, I was going to jump in before we, I mean, I know what the next slide is, which is I assume you're ready for the final thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we head into the final thoughts, I was going to jump in because there were two things that you just said that really stuck out to me.
Sure.
That I want to make sure to acknowledge is the first was that low stakes start. On our end, we often find ourselves suggesting to programs the exact first kind of assignment that you mentioned, where have your teachers go into a classroom and do that classroom tour. So that one really resonated with me. The other thing I found really interesting is it sounds like there's a bit of discussion in your program amongst the faculty and field supervisors almost around the stress of how to provide feedback on video. It sounds like you've gone through a bit of evolution there. Those discussions are happening internally from a world where, okay, we're just going to comment on lots of things to, as you said, going in with a focus and having that narrowed set of comments. I think that's another thing that we hear a lot from programs is that they're learning how to do the process of video-based feedback. So interesting to hear that learning has happened already for you guys. All right, now I'm going to turn it back over to you for your final thoughts. But those things were really just top of mind for me, so I wanted to share those.
Great. Yes, definitely. I feel like we have been experiencing an evolution as we've learned how to work with Athena this year. And I think one thing we would definitely take away is that it's within the course of a year has become a part of what we're doing here. And I think that's really important for us, that it's really been integrated into the program really fluidly. Just some final thoughts I think that our faculty would share with others considering the use of Athena is that we've seen a couple of in-program enhancements that we would want to share. The first is the idea of it's really pushed us to increase the field-based teaching opportunities. I mentioned at the beginning that our students have field hours associated with all of their coursework, and typically that experience looked like the student, the intern, or the pre-service teacher sitting in the classroom doing observations, maybe circulating a bit, depending on the comfort level of the teacher in the classroom context. And we found that by shifting our assignments, because of the incorporation of Athena, we've been pushing them to do more, to try more early on in the program. And we think that is setting them up to really be ready for those semester-long and year-long final internships. We have also seen a big shift in ownership in their own professional development. So many of the students are really understanding that the videos serve such a purpose for them, and they recognize so many things by getting comfortable seeing themselves on video, and they're directing where they think their professional development should head with the assistance of the faculty members and the teachers in our schools who are also using Athena. Again, the opportunity for those explicit course-to-field connections. Our assignments are so much more robust now because we're asking them to put things into practice. And then finally, one that might resonate with many people is that here at Mason, we've gone through a bit of a challenge with our budget situation and how we're paying our university supervisors. And one of the things that we've been able to do with Athena is have them maintain contact with the interns, see that growth very frequently through the use of video, guide them in that process with Athena without having to require them to be on the school site as frequently. So it's been filling a really great space for us to allow us to maintain that robust supervision even while our budget for supervision seems to be tightening just a bit.
Audra, I'm curious, as you talk to your peers in the field, is there one particular example that you usually give that really helps crystallize for folks a really clear way that you use video now that just wasn't there before you had Athena in place?
Oh, certainly. So what I can use an example from a class that I'm teaching tonight, as a matter of fact. So it's a course that's a classroom management and methods, instructional methods, general methods course. And there was an assignment, it was one of our performance-based assessments, and I incorporated the classroom tour into it. There's a portion of the course where we read about the 6 features of classroom design. And in the past, the student would write a reflective statement about their field-based classroom, and they would just summarize what they saw in relation to these 6 features. And so now the assignment with Athena has become that they do the 2-minute video tour of their classroom, and then in their reflective comments, they're connecting to those 6 features that we've been talking about. The best part, I think, is the added layer of the peer comments. So they're in small groups with their peers through the explorations tool, and the students can then comment on each other. So they're getting to see, literally, lots of different classrooms and how teachers are addressing those 6 features of classroom design. Very different experience than writing a reflection.
Yeah, sounds very very visual, which is what the focus of the assignment is. We had a question come in, somebody wanting to know how easy has this been to get your teachers up and going with use of the platform?
That's a great question. Actually, it says everything that I didn't have to talk about the logistics behind getting our students and our teachers up and running, because it's that simple. And we've really had to invest very little time in getting the students tech capable with Athena. They actually, I've not received a single question from a student, and we have over 100 across this adoption year about technical difficulty with navigating the platform, and the same as with our teachers. So it's they've been able to pick it up within 5 minutes. So that's been the biggest, for me, the biggest and most important piece is that the technology doesn't get in the way of what we ultimately want to accomplish with the video tool.
Got it. Great to hear. I'll make sure to pass that on to our product teams. Let them know that folks in the field are still happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks again, Audra.